Okay, we're almost done.
Okay, we're streaming. We started streaming. Test.
Hello, hello, hello.
Side feed mic.
Side, you speak right into the band.
Hello, hello, hello.
There you go.
All right. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good
time.
morning. Wake your ass up.
It is the day after hump day. There's no excuse. Get out of bed.
Yeah, it's time for the Jeff Sargent Show.
Greet the day,
Starring me.
Greet the day, maggots, and give us 20.
And our co-host, Jakey.
Good morning, people. Morning. Coming to you from the center of the universe, Rancho Cucamonga, California.
Yeah. We have some guests today. We in the studio right now at this moment.
Thanos, the Mad Titan.
We have author and actor Jeff Fuel.
Hello, everybody.
Good morning, pride of Dallas, Texas. Jeff Fuel is here to talk about his books and everything else going on in his life.
Everything else going on in life.
Yeah.
Never comes up.
And then we have from American Sniper, a real USMC soldier turned actor, Leon Farmer. He's on his way. He'll be coming in here in a few minutes. And we got some stories for you today. Yeah.
Let's start with you, Jeff Fuel. Tell us your origin story. What have you been working on?
Right now, let's see. I'm working on my 13th book that I'm going to be putting out
13th?
this summer. Yep.
Wow, that's the elevator that's the floor on the elevator I never get off on.
I try and schedule one every summer. Yeah.
Yeah. 13. What a number. Yeah. All right. So
Guest number 2 just showed up.
I just saw somebody out there.
So he's an American sniper, so he's gone dark.
Camouflage mode.
I'm waiting for Jeff or Jeff's head to walk.
there he is. Down. Yeah, right. Leon Farmer. Have a seat, buddy.
Respect your service. Leon meet Jeff. Jeff meet Leon.
Yeah, nice disguise you got there, brother.
Thank you.
Your silhouette gave you away. We had your range. You were also downwind, unlike any good soldier.
Sneaking in.
Yeah, put on them headphones.
Put on the headphones. We're talking to Jeff Fuel, who just finished his 13th book.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
And it's out this summer?
Yeah, I'm going to be putting out this summer. It's called Secret Sanctuary. It's a young adult adventure novel.
Wow. Give us the plot.
It's about a group of kids, and I'm writing it, and I believe this one is in first person. And they're trying to bring down a corrupt politician, but it's also very Stand By Me-ish. I always try to put a lot of pop culture in it, a lot of friendship, a lot of things that are going around at the time. And this takes place in 1979 in Midland, Texas.
Wow. Okay.
Wow,
That's 79.
yeah.
Cool.
I got a lot of memories from 79.
That's a little out of my time.
That was the first time Jeff got molested.
By a 35-year-old real estate woman.
What, did you ever catch his name?
Y'all banter like you were in the military.
Hey, I hate to tell on him, but stolen honor.
Nice.
He didn't earn that rank.
No, only by birth.
But okay, so a 13th novel. How does it differ from the first one?
I write in various genres. I don't just write in one type. I write science fiction, time travel, adventure, romance, fantasy, young adult, horror, you name it. If I've written it, if I haven't done it yet, I'll probably get to it sooner or later.
Wow, what's the horror one called?
Reality and Other Horrors, a collection of strange tales. Yeah, that's my 12th book, but it's actually some of the first stories that I ever wrote. So, and I thought, I have all these stories lying around, the first things I ever wrote. Why not rewrite all of them and put them into one collection?
Fascinating. Wow. Any questions for our guest, Jeff?
Yeah, what about your acting? What your first book? I mean, how did you do? Like, I'm going to write science fiction. I'm going to.
You wanted to know? Did you run from page 1 to page 100?
I mean, he's a writer too, so I don't know how much what inspires to write. Say, okay, I'm gonna be an author. I'm going to start writing. How did that happen? I mean,
well, I see. I first started writing when I was about 19 years old. I was cleaning up a room, and I came across a Stephen King's book, Night Shift. And I don't know.
Great book.
Yeah, awesome. I mean, it's Stephen King's the master. He's
still his best short
main
story
inspiration. Yeah.
Yeah, King and Richard Matheson's pretty good too.
Dean Koontz, I like him a lot too.
But you know how to escape a monster in a Dean Koontz book, right? Do you? Know how to get away from a monster in a Dean Koontz book?
No, how do you get away from a monster in a Dean Koontz book?
You leave Orange County. All his monsters are in Orange County. And once you're out of Orange County, it's home free.
Nice. Oh, but I'd say I started reading his books, and then I loved them because I never really, I was a big comic book guy, but I never read a lot of paperbacks or hardbacks, and I started getting my my own ideas and just started writing.
Wow, nice.
Yeah. Well, when I first started, though, they were all mainly horror, thriller, Twilight Zone-ish. Once I started writing professionally, starting around 2006, that's when I started writing again. It was like just multi-genre. That's how my mind works. It's just all over the place.
Interesting. Yeah, even King, I think Night Shift has a couple stories that weren't out-and-out horror. They were more like a dark relationship. Mm-hmm. And then by the time he did like, what's the novella collection? Different Seasons.
Different Seasons with
The Body, which became Stand By Me, Reedy Hayworth, and The Shawshank Redemption, which became Shawshank Redemption.
And Apt Pupil.
Apt Pupil, which is terrific. And everyone forgets Breathing Method. Which is a really great, to me, that was him doing an homage to Peter Straub.
Okay,
It's not so much horror as it's situational horror where we're all responsible for something terrible happening, blah, blah, blah. Let's all keep our secret, blah, blah, blah.
And he's collaborated with Peter Straub, 2 or 3, 4 times now?
His most boring books. I'm sorry, but, Floating Dragon and all that other stuff, Straub bores the hell out of me.
I've only read about 2 or 3 Straub books, and honestly, at the top of my head,
Ghost Story.
I don't remember. I don't remember the details of any of them.
Boring.
Okay.
He's incredibly boring.
Mm-hmm.
Even when he teams up with Stephen King, it's like you had a boring guy make your Big Mac. Stephen King would make this big, greasy Big Mac, but because it was boringly put together by Peter Straub, it takes forever to get to the good stuff.
They put it on gluten-free bread, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And toasted it lightly, despite your wishes. Let's throw in guest number 2 in the mix. Introduce yourself, soldier.
What's going on, everybody? My name's Leon Farmer.
Leon
How's
Farmer.
it going?
So looking at the 3 of us, and sorry he risked his life to save this country. Where are you from, Leon?
I'm from Hamilton, Ohio, just north of Cincinnati.
Wow, not too far from the Mistake on the Lake, as we call Cleveland.
No, everything in the Midwest is a mistake.
By the way, you were correct, sir. You were at least smart enough in a Darwinian sense to get the hell out of Ohio. You know?
I know, right?
I mean, I haven't seen a mosquito in over 20 years, and I haven't missed them either.
Or a cicada.
Cicada, unfortunately, he just got back from New Orleans. We went about 7 years ago. We met my father in New Orleans. And my brothers and I, Steve and Don, we drove down, drove all night, drove. And we pulled in this gas station. And at 3:30 in the morning, this woman is screaming to high heavens, and my brother said, let's go. And the 3 of us charged over. And it was a bug in a tree. It was a cicada screaming, but it sounds just like a person screaming.
Wow. Yeah, they're really loud. Have you ever been to
Yeah, they were. I'm from Texas, so yeah, they're all over the place there. Yeah, horny toads too.
Wow.
Yeah, and there's another thing that I actually haven't seen in a while that I miss, the little lightning bugs.
Yeah.
I saw them in Indiana, but I didn't. They said they're like almost extinct there in Louisiana. You know.
Yeah, that's the thing about like living in California. We got so much greatness, but there's like the littlest of things that you do.
White Castle.
Yeah, White
We
Castle.
have no White Castle yet.
Yeah.
The last Dunkin' Donuts went out of business in like '89, and it took us almost 30 years to get Dunkin' Donuts back in Southern California.
And you got to go all the way to Burbank.
Right. Well, no, there's one in Upland.
We got some in our cup right now.
Dunkin' Donuts coffee, but not Dunkin'
coffee,
Donuts.
yeah.
Otherwise, we'd be sharing. We live with home.
But when did you join the military?
So I went in right after high school. I was 18.
Only child, oldest brother. What?
No, I'm an only child with my father, but I have a half brother, half sister. They're much older than me by 10 years.
Wow.
And so after high school, I just didn't want to stick around my hometown. I wanted to do things. College wasn't really, So I just said, hell with it. Just go do this.
Wow.
My grandfather was a Marine. My grandfather is a Marine. He passed away.
I'm sorry.
And so that's why I chose the Marine Corps. But I was talking with my father recently, and I asked him because I never really knew what inspired me to be in the military. It wasn't for love of country or
Right.
dereliction of duty. Or anything. No, like I was 18 years old. I had no fucking idea what I wanted to do. So I just thought, let's join the military. You can travel and do all this stuff that the pamphlets.
But you're thinking you're going to be in the Philippines, going around Subic Bay.
I was hoping more like Southeast Asia and Thailand or something, but no. It was the best decision that I had made as a young.
Tell us about it. Where did they send you? Where you go deep into the action? Where'd you?
I don't really talk much about it.
Well, since we have 2 hours to fill, you are this morning, chum.
I was 18. It was 2002. It was after 9/11. There was this whole big thing.
Oh, you're like first generation post 9/11. Okay.
Yeah. So when I got in, it was very fresh, very new for everybody. And I did my boot camp in South Carolina at Parris Island, and then I was stationed out here in California for a little while.
29 Palms?
29 Palms.
Wow.
29 Palms.
Where the S meets the dirt.
Yeah, hell on earth for real. So
Now, you were there around the time that guy killed the girl, right?
in 29?
Yeah. Remember the
Lightning.
soldier killed the girl and then left the corpse and, all sorts of S blew up.
It sounds like something, that would happen in this.
There's a
lifetime.
book based on it. Local girl got mixed. Again, there's nothing in 29 Palms. It's hard scrub.
Yeah, I wonder what it looks like now, though. I wonder if.
I'm betting same old.
You think same old?
I'm
same
sure
old?
of it.
I just haven't had really the courage to go back.
You
So
know,
it's just one big military training base? Or
Yeah.
They do.
it's basically the whole economy in 29 Palms is the base.
Yeah, pretty much. And I think
Nothing to do
from
there.
what I remember, about 10 or 15 miles outside of base, there is like a small little town. But I mean, it's literally a ghost town out that way. But again, like I'd be curious to know what it's like now with military, with the military growing and this and that. Like I just wonder what the area looks like now.
Well, the guy killed the chick, and then, which was, of course, horrible. But then some LA Times writer, basically, she put a book together and described correctly what an S-hole 29 Palms was. But you know what I mean? I mean, her indictment was the military. Oh, the military culture of violence, blah, blah, blah. And 29 Palms didn't appreciate the attention, and neither did the military. It's just ugly,
Yeah. That's sad. That's really sad to hear. And it's sad to hear that, if it was a military guy, it's, really sad to hear. That's why I do what I do nowadays with the extracurricular activities that I do with the yoga and the meditation,
Smart.
the vets and stuff like that.
Were you troubled by post-traumatic when you got back?
It's such a sensitive thing, post-traumatic stress. This, like we all have this quote unquote post-traumatic stress syndrome. I just think what we really have is just a mind issue. We allow our minds to run, and we believe these illusions that are these facades that we see. You know, we like, for some reason, we dive into these things when in actuality, all it is an illusion. If you just calm your mind for a moment and look around you at where you're at, you're okay.
Wow.
Personally, I struggled with a lot. I struggled with a lot when I was out because there was a lot of disappointment when I got out. When I was in, I got hurt when I was in. We were doing training. We were going to Iraq. I was with my unit, and we were back out here in 29 Palms training to go to Iraq for this thing called CAX. We were out in the desert for like 6 months, 3 to 6 months. And, I was in training. I had a guy on my back, and I stepped into an empty sand hole, and I came down hard, and my whole spinal cord compressed.
Oh my God!
And I was still running on adrenaline because we were running like live drills and stuff. And at the end of it, I couldn't move my body. My legs went numb. I had this. So basically, what happened was with the weight of the body. Came down on my back so hard that my whole entire spine compressed. So my lower
just like an accordion, just kind of
pretty much. I was playing the music that day, and so what happened was when my spine compressed, it ruptured a disc in my lower back.
Oh no!
Which pinched the disc in the nucleus, which is this jelly substance inside of our disc. It seeped out and it hit my main artery in my back, and I just went into this like shock. And I couldn't walk. I couldn't, I was fucked up for a long time.
How did that? What kind of therapy? I mean, how did you get back to where you are now?
It was years and years of just slow movements again, learning really how to walk again. I mean, I couldn't sit down. I couldn't stand up. I couldn't lay down. Every little move. If I yawned, it would hurt. I would cry. I'd be up in the middle of the night, crying because of how bad my back was hurt. So what it took me years of physical therapy. It took me years of different types of, just expansion therapy where they expanded my spine. They wanted to go in and do this crazy surgery and all this shit. And I was like, no, you're not touching me with a knife. So it took me I'd say it took me a good 4 years before I could really get off the ground and running again. Wow. And then once I did, I overdid myself, and I actually ended up hurting myself again because I didn't realize, I'm young. I'm in my early 20s. I'm not ready to be feeling like this old man. So what I did was I literally put myself, after I went down the second time, I changed my life. I changed my eating habits. I changed my mindset. I changed my everything, just everything. And I started swimming more. I started working with this. I've learned how amazing massages are. Again, if you haven't got a massage in your life, you have to go get one.
There's a place in
a
Pomona.
real massage.
I go to this Asian one down here called Happy Endings. It's right around the corner.
You've got to give me their number. But no, I'm
don't
serious.
be in a hurry to leave.
But it was, and I actually have to give a big special thanks to my friend Antonio because he's a stretch coach and deep tissue massage therapist, and he gave me pretty much a year of deep tissue massages and working out my sciatic nerves and just all this.
Now that helps along with what about chiropractors?
Still, I still see a chiropractor.
It's kind of good. The massage works, it loosens the muscle up, and where the chiropractor can kind of
adjust and expand my.
I know they work. It works better when you work those two together.
Absolutely, because you got to think of the years that I'm sitting on my butt or I'm laying on my back or I'm just trying to get back to walking.
And the muscles could
my muscles just were so tight, and then my hips were caving in at the same time. So I really had to wake up and say, Leon, you're too young to be feeling like this, even though you went through a major injury. I had to constantly and every day, and it's still an every single day thing. I have to tell myself, you have to do things a different way. I get out of my car differently. I put both feet on the ground, then I stand up. I lay, you know, like I get up off the ground by pushing myself up. I've made these the smallest of habits I've changed in my life have made me feel like I'm 18 again. I feel amazing. So just habits, good habits. So your question, you know, to answer your question again on how did I get back, it's just having good habits, creating better habits for myself.
Wow.
Damn.
Do you miss the Corps?
Oh, yeah, of course. I miss the camaraderie. Yes and no, I should be honest.
You miss the saltpeter?
Yeah. If I knew that. But yeah, I miss the guys. I miss the camaraderie. I miss the, you know, a little bit of the training and stuff that we did, the weapons and stuff like that, you know, blowing shit up. Like that was always fun. But the good thing is it's like I'm so connected with the vet organizations and different communities out here in LA that I still feel very much a part of that, you know, world.
No, and they've had a problem with the VA hospital not helping people. Has that changed, in your opinion?
Oh, absolutely. So I got into the VA when it was shit. I mean, literally, they were sending me to the drug counter. I'm 22 years old, and I'm getting sent to this drug counter saying, "Oh, go pick up your 9 prescriptions." You know, and over the years, though, I have watched it change immensely. So today, they're doing wonderful things at the VA. You know, they're treating they're treating us vets with respect. They've got a lot of the resources and tools available to us now that they didn't have before. But yes, there was a long period of time that the VA was really fucking up.
Wow. I'm glad that's over. You know,
I wouldn't say it's over,
but
there's still a lot of bureaucracy shit that's going on. But like for the most part, I have to say I am very happy with how the VA really turned their shit together.
Wow.
Yeah. Jeff, what's up, man? I didn't know you were this good looking, dude.
Wow.
Okay, you need new glasses.
You need new glasses. How dare you?
Yeah, if you find Jeff attractive this time of the morning, I've been sitting here.
I'm
still a zombie.
I mean, I've played a few soldier roles extra, you know, in a couple of movies. And
he sits in extra holding, thinking,
but
practicing his 29-yard stare.
But you're the real thing, man. And then what got you into doing military roles in movies?
What'd you get your SAG card on?
I got my SAG card. Actually, I think I got my SAG card on American Sniper.
Wow.
Yeah. Because I was it was weird. I was SAG eligible for years, but for some oddball reason, I was able to slip under the known, you know, that I had to join. So I'm like literally working SAG jobs for about 3 years, not having to pay to get in SAG. And getting paid SAG. Nice. But, you know, once they
that's because of the military deal, right?
No. I think that's just because I just got on by, you know, with doing that. Nobody caught it or never red flagged it. I don't know. It just never came up to.
So you were getting those vouchers on all those. You were getting SAG rate on all those vouchers
every time.
Wow. So you were no. Did Eastwood know about your background? Because I'm sure he looked for that for people in the movie, right?
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure. Casting and Clint was. I'm actually quite positive it was a collaborative process with casting and with him and Malapasso Productions that they wanted real vets for a lot of these roles.
Wow.
And they use a lot of the vets, and I have to go and say, like, I'm the farthest thing from the real deal, but, you know, being around the community of these vets, of like these like real deal vets, I would say, and working on this movie was amazing. And working with Clint was just so galvanizing.
Give us your first big Clint Eastwood moment. You know, as a soldier.
Yeah. I mean, this guy's so iconic. When I met him at
it's like being directed by Mount Rushmore.
I was out doing double work for ER, and I was at
he said, "Excuse me, movie extra." That's for cast and crew.
Hey,
you're gonna be much happier with those apples over there.
I was over at Warner Brothers, and and he's a big deal there. Warner Brothers.
He's a big deal everywhere.
Yeah,
it's his home studio.
I'm over at the shops, and I'm over in the effects shop trying to, doing giving my mold making resume and doing my, the craft that I do.
Excuse me, movie extra. You're not supposed to be over here.
And coming out of the welding shop, I'm seeing sparks fly. This guy in a suit with this posse following him, and it's like, it's Clint Eastwood, man. And he's right. Same height as me, eye level, eye to eye, just going, I turn around and like, oh, I'm just like frozen, like, oh, hi. Hey, Clint, what's...
Oh, he said, hey, Clint Watson.
What's that? Is everything all right?
On the Warner Brothers back lot, we wear pants.
How you doing, man? So I'm going to give my resume. I want to get a job in this shop. Here.
Did you give him your resume?
Good. No. I told him I was going to this
because that would have given him a huge laugh.
I'm just trying to get into this shop. Oh, good luck with that. And then Posse just like, okay, these guys are all in suits.
Find out how that disturbing guy got in the back lot.
Yeah, they're just going. But he kind of had that smirk on his face, like, okay, this guy maybe like. A lot of people do this, they just run into him,
As soon as he left, you said, sanitizer.
I mean, you turn around and
the creature touched me.
Clint Eastwood's right there in your face,
You can't forget the...
Yeah. I mean...
the creature.
It was shocking, actually, because I remember I got to set. It was really early call time. It was like, I think like 6:30 a.m. or something like that, which is actually not that early, but 6:30 a.m. call time. We get to the place. I go through. They check my hair. I had already done my whole own military. I've had so many bad experiences working military roles where they've like asked me to keep my hair, and then they want to cut it on set, and then they like literally put a bowl on top of my head, shave me bald around it, and then put a hat on me. I'm just like, get out of here. Yeah, but I remember getting the set, went through hair and makeup. They just, double checked everything was good. And then went to wardrobe, got all my gear, props, got all my gear. And they said, okay. And it was quick, too. Like, literally, I got there, got dressed, went through the thing, and then got on the bus where they were going to drive us to set.
And where were you shooting at, the American Sniper? Was it the Blue Sky Movie Ranch?
No. Where I think they did some small shots and stuff there. But they shot in Morocco. They did some things at Blue Cloud, and we were out here at this airport, somewhere out here, I think in Ontario.
Wow, really?
Yeah, we were at this airfield, and behind the airfield, they literally put up this like brick wall in the middle of the desert. These two brick walls in the middle of the desert, and that was our compound that we were playing out of.
Wow. Because we were shooting, I have a movie coming out called The Prey, which is kind of a Predator knockoff, where I'm the Predator type creature, but I run on all fours. We were shooting on American Sniper sets as soon as Warner Brothers was done with them.
That's so cool.
This little low-budget horror movie. And I just remember marveling at the sets. They had the Morocco location-type sets on Blue Sky, where Blue Sky is where you do all the military stuff.
Yeah, Blue Sky Ranch. Yeah.
They have tanks and everything from the 98 Godzilla and all these other war movies that were made there.
Actually, I got that picture of that tank on my Instagram. Right
Do you
now.
really? You know the one I'm talking about? Yeah.
I did.
That tank's badass.
I did the Bear Grylls challenge. We did the practice course. So on Friday, the prep course, we ran through the entire challenge through Bear Grylls.
Wow.
And they had the tank and they had all the equipment and all that stuff out there. So
it's literally like you're you're in a military base.
It really is. Yeah,
you're walking by. I mean, they shot War of the Worlds there.
Really?
Oh yeah, it's 110 in the shade when we're shooting there, and you're in the monster costume. You're just leaking sweat. There's this little girl who's earning film credits at Cal State Northridge. Her only job is to pull my head off, pull my claws off, and hand me a cup of coffee. And on the break, you're wandering through this village. Because they shot Iron Man there as well. Oh. So we're using the cave from Iron Man, which is where the monster lives.
I was wondering where that was.
Yeah, it's Blue Sky. And the Moroccan village from American Sniper, whatever it was in Afghanistan or whatever. And it's like 5 blocks long. We grabbed it as soon as you guys were done. And
wow, that's a big place.
And
man.
I think it was Iraq.
Yeah, I think it plays Iraq in the movie.
I haven't actually. I haven't actually seen the film yet. So
wow, hardcore.
Yeah, I haven't actually even seen it yet. So
He refuses to see any movie that he's in. As opposed to Jeff,
I
who
haven't actually seen anything.
as opposed to Jeff, because he'll run to it and masturbate during his scenes.
Yeah. There I am. Stop. Rewind. Freeze the frame. Okay, 1 second, 2 seconds, 3.
That's when the usher arrives and says, "Out, bum."
But you were there.
I only wish I had that kind of love for myself.
Jeff
Really,
love for
I'm like
himself.
you. I have hardly seen anything I've done. I mean,
You know, and it's
Neither
not
is
to be
anyone
cool.
else.
neither is anything else.
Yeah, and it's not to like be cool or anything. It's just because like you. I think you can relate to this. You literally put work on something. It doesn't matter how large or minuscule the project is.
In this case, for Jeff's case, minuscule.
But it was. We were there at the same day in Acton, right? Were you there at the rodeo? In Acton. In Acton,
The rodeo. No, I don't.
the rodeo scene where.
An American Sniper.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know if I was actually there. I think we were shooting on the same day, but I was in the morning and we really got out of there. Like I was literally there for like 5 hours and
Wow.
I was gone. So that's the thing that I love about shooting with Clint Eastwood. Is
He likes to do things on one take. I noticed that he likes to do one take. And when they were doing the buck and bronco scene where he gets bucked off the horse and they had a fake horse leg, when he's on the ground and the guys are sweeping dirt and they got the camera and they're sticking the horse leg by his head,
Thank you for coming down, Jeff Sargent. You're just too handsome to have in this movie.
and they got
And by handsome, I'm being sarcastic.
they have they had a golf cart, they're filming where they're filming behind where the real rodeo guy was jumping around, but it went really quick.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
he liked, there wasn't too many takes that were done over again.
Yeah, no, we got on set and literally. So what I was telling you before was like when the first time I saw Clint Eastwood is when it got real.
Yeah, tell me.
I'm in the van and I'm just like sitting there, we're waiting to go to set, and I'm on set with a couple of the other actors that are going to be seen with like Fahim Fazili, who's in every like military movie as the antagonist.
Right.
And I'm just sitting there, and then I look up, and Mr. Clint Eastwood walks around the corner and gets in his car, which is right in front of the truck, and then drives his car to set.
Wow. So he doesn't ride in the van like the rest of the scum.
No. He drives his own little Mercedes, gray, like 1989 beat up Mercedes Benz.
Wow. He hasn't bought a new car since Pink Cadillac.
Yeah.
So we get to set and we're on set. They're pretty much already ready to go, and we hang around for maybe like a half an hour, and then we get our first shot off. And I'm so glad that I did this because I don't know if you guys know this, and I'm sure you do. Mr. Eastwood doesn't yell action. He goes, all right, whenever you're ready. And then
Which means action, a-holes.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's not loud. He's not.
No.
He's just kind of soft spoken. The only ones are the production assistants that have the loud mouth.
Yeah, and even then, his set was so cool and calm, collected.
Yeah, it was very calm. I noticed. Yeah.
Yeah. Because he doesn't want to stress himself out before he goes out there and gets on the chorus. So.
Did you like Rocket Raccoon?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I loved it. Yeah.
Was he nice, Rocket Raccoon? Bradley Cooper.
You're
Yeah,
talking about
sorry.
Bradley Cooper.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. I knew you were talking about the reference because I just watched the first Galaxy movie. Actually,
You just saw Guardians of the Galaxy?
I just saw the first.
You're with 3 Marvel nerds, man. You've got a lot to complete.
I'm a big Marvel nerd too, but the Guardians were the only ones that I hadn't seen yet, and I finally watched it. But yeah, I did meet Bradley Cooper.
And tell us about. I want to jump back for a minute because you were describing the action scene on the Eastwood movie. When did you realize it was going on? Because we'll jump back to Bradley Cooper, but I realized I jumped in too soon. You were about to do an action scene, and he says, "Whenever you're ready."
Yeah, so he just says, like whenever you're ready, and then we go, and then me and my scene partner, we go into this spiel, and We have Fahim Fazili's character who rushes in with a car, and there was a civilian who got killed earlier in the film, and they had brought that civilian to our base and dropped that civilian off. And so me and my character were pretty much the guards for this particular scene. And then we also got Bradley Cooper's character out in the caravan to go out into the field and stuff like that.
Wow.
So yeah, and you know, it was just really cool because he's like, you know, whenever you're ready, and then we go into the scene. And we had to be really loud in the scene at the beginning. So, you know, he's like, all right, stop. And then when he actually raises his voice,
wow,
you just kind of like, shut up, you know? So we did it 3, maybe 4 times at most. And I remember the last take, he even came over to us and was like, is there anything you guys want to do extra? You know, he just really allowed us to play. And
just throwing some real military.
Yeah,
What'd you do? What was the big change?
Just no big change. I mean, we really just stuck straight to the script and try to elevate that, try to intensify that scene. So
Wow, yeah, because when you do that, when you allow a soldier to throw in his own stuff, it's sometimes Oliver Stone told me that when I interviewed him. And you look at stuff like Apocalypse Now, where I remember one of my professors in college told me the most realistic thing he saw in a Vietnam movie as a vet. He said that scene in the helicopter in Apocalypse Now where the soldier takes the bullets and smacks it against his helmet to make sure they're all loose and ready to go. Mm-hmm. He said he'd seen war movies his entire life before and after Vietnam. And he said that was the only one to get it right, where the guy, that was something he was taught the first time he was in Vietnam. You'd smash you'd smash the bullet thing against your helmet to loosen them all up.
Yeah.
So nothing would clump together. And it's such a small moment in Apocalypse Now, but to him, it told him they knew what they were doing.
It's,
you know?
It's the littlest things, you know, like back to earlier what I was saying about the littlest habits. You know, as an actor, in every character you play, you find the character's littlest of habits. So I'm sure that scene that you're talking about in Apocalypse Now, that was, you know, that's his thing. You know, like, this is what I do. And not every actor who plays military or whatever, you know, like, we all do this, but like everybody has their own little thing when they bring it to the table. So, you know, just find the littlest of things about your character and it will stand out, and that's why it stood out.
As a soldier, what John Wayne BS in movies really bothers you? Give us the top 5 of the worst.
Well, I'm not a soldier.
Well, you were a Marine.
I'm a Marine.
Always are hoorah. Come
on. Say the question again.
What are the 5 worst things in the people playing Marines that they get wrong? What you can name the movie?
You spot that out?
God,
yeah.
All the time. Like I actually, there's this young actor kid that I try and help out a little bit, and every time I see him in a picture playing a military thing, he's always got his finger on the trigger.
That's bad.
Take your finger off the trigger. Okay, that's 1.
Right.
Muzzle awareness, that's 2.
Muzzle awareness.
Yes, like I've been on these sets where these actors who are not military, who don't have the training, literally they're just kind of like slinging their weapons around, and yes, we're on a set, it's all safe and whatnot, but it doesn't matter.
The other guy's nuts off.
It doesn't matter. Muzzle awareness, like that is the most important when it comes to safety, and it doesn't matter if it's a live weapon or a fake weapon, whatever.
Now, for the civilian, muzzle awareness means basically not pointing the muzzle of your weapon at someone's.
Not pointing the muzzle anywhere other than straight down to the ground.
Oh, straight
or at a target.
Wow.
That's the only 2 places that the muzzle should ever be, or up in the air if you got it slinged around your shoulder.
Wow.
We had, when we did that show, remember that sci-fi one with the guy from Ally McBeal? It was called Taken. This is before the what's his name? Liam Neeson. This was about a UFO. It was a miniseries back in 2000. Do you remember that?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and we were out that March Air Force Base, but we had all really beat up, molded AR-15s, that were just like, I remember I was marching with this one guy, and the muzzle was rubber, and you could see the muzzle went up there, wiggling when he's bouncing. I suggested, why don't you switch guns with that? That thing's kind of beat up. And, I mean, they're all rubber, but nothing was used.
Yeah, well, that's something you can't really help. But like, and if
what else? Yeah.
If I was ever on anything and they gave me a rubber bullet, I wouldn't use it.
Wow.
I couldn't do it.
Give us some more. What else bothers you in war movies? Give us some of the stupidest things you've seen. And don't worry, author man, we're coming back to you.
This is interesting.
Yeah,
I love it.
I don't really try. I used to do this a long time ago. I used to try and nitpick every little
Do
thing.
it. Let's hear it. What crap bothers you? When you saw Fury, what bothered you? You know what I mean? I mean, when you saw whatever war movie in the last 10 years, what's bothered you the most? And muzzle awareness is number one. What else?
I think that's really just the two main things: is muzzle awareness and the finger on the trigger. I mean, obviously there's always maybe some of the banter, or like when a certain particular actor played a military guy, but when they look so clean cut. Like when they're so clean cut and they've been out in the field for X amount of days, but they come back and they're still all shaven and stuff. Like, allow the scruff, allow some of the facial hair. Maybe show somebody shaving, dry shaving in the field. There you go. There's something I've never actually seen in a military movie, with the exception of like maybe
Predator,
some of the older ones. Yeah, Predator. He's sitting there dry shaving. You don't see that. Why don't we see that? Why is every military movie that we see the guys are always with the cleanest of
or the fake dirt smudges? You got the makeup girl.
Well, you gotta have dirt
doing
smudges,
obvious smudges on the face.
Yeah, I mean that you just take some real mud and
a question. What do you think out of all the war movies is the most realistic portrayal of war?
Excellent question.
I've heard one more than any other, but I wanted
to
Don't
say it. Yeah, I know what you're gonna say.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really don't know, because I think a lot of war movies that are made, maybe none of them.
Wow.
Because from just my experience and talking with some of my friends who have seen some serious shit, it's nothing like what you see in the movies. Nothing.
Do they have a favorite? Do you have a favorite though? He's right. That's a great question because
none.
Wow.
Yeah, because I mean, I've talked to a lot of my friends, and like there's some of them that say, yeah, American Sniper was kind of spot on with some things, but then there's some things that none, because you can't, because it's Hollywood. Okay. Hollywood has to Hollywood everything. Okay. So realistically, I would say none.
Wow.
I thought for sure, I guess I can say it now.
Private?
The opening scene of Private Ryan at Normandy Beach.
Wow.
See, that's the thing, though. Like, I'm sure it was. I'm sure that was very realistic. I mean, it felt very fucking realistic.
Yeah.
Watching it makes me feel like it's real when I watch it, but I wasn't at Normandy. Okay. And I've never actually spoken with anybody who had stormed the beaches of Normandy. So personally, I can't tell you what would be realistic.
What's hilarious though is that scene gets all the credit, but all the BS later. I mean, Tom Hanks wearing his rank on his helmet, he would have been shot in the head 10 minutes.
They would have. Don't they look for stuff like that?
Do.
The enemy look for that.
Well, and it's never shiny. It's never ever shiny. Like
we have a guest who's out there.
When you're in the field, when you're in the field. I don't know. Some guy just dropped off a paper.
Let me make sure we're not being set on fire. Keep talking.
Get back in here, giant man.
All right, hold on.
I think he just got served papers.
Did you just got served your divorce papers?
The baby's his.
Oh, speaking of all this, Arlie Ermy just died about less than 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So I would say realistic, like what was it? Full Metal Jacket.
Yes.
I mean, I can't tell you what was real, what wasn't real, because I was never in.
This is my rifle. It's mine.
Absolutely, like boot camp. That would probably be the closest thing to realism that I would say, or even Jarhead, or actually, there is a movie now that I think about it, Sandcastle. Have you seen?
Are we talking the Jan Michael Vincent movie?
Whatever movie, I don't
from
know.
From the 70s?
No. Okay. This was recently. This was a few years actually ago. It's this movie called Sandcastle. I would say that's very close to the feeling of being in the military because they give that like I just don't fucking want to be here.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
You know, like this is I don't want to do this.
Wow.
Like I want to break my arm or something to get the hell out of here.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say Sandcastle would be a good one to watch.
You were kind of thinking of Tribes with Jan Michael Vincent.
Darren McGavin.
Because my mother said, and he had his long hair and he's being drafted and like he's having memories like I don't want to be here. Why am I in the military?
Jarhead did that beautifully. Jarhead did that with Gyllenhaal's character. Like he, and then you had
and there's
Skarsgård's character. Who's
no
like
fighting in the book. There's no fighting in the book. In Jarhead, the book Jarhead, you know what I mean? And the movie BS's it up a little bit, but in the book, there's no combat at all. It's all boot camp.
Yeah, I think that's isn't that the same in the movie?
I believe so. It's been a while since I saw it, but you're reading the book and you're waiting for him to go to combat, and he never does. You know what I mean?
I think that's the same in the movie too. Because at the end they fire all their weapons off. Oh, there you go. That's something that would never happen. Like you wouldn't. Our command would never just let our fire our weapons up in the air. That's not gonna happen.
That's another thing I wanted to talk about. When you're doing these the gunfire. Now, are you using the blanks, or are they using CG flash on the end, or is that real?
No, we use blanks. So in American Sniper, we shot a couple rounds off in the air, and we used blanks. No CG.
They still got they're the 223, right? Caliber?
I believe so. We had, I think we had the M4s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they still have the kick. I mean, to get that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Even on the blanks, you're still getting a little bit of the kick.
Wow. Now, did you ever have flashbacks of boot camp when you were doing this, or no?
Yeah, all the time. I mean, I always, whenever I watch like a military movie or I'm with some of the guys doing some training, of course, I always think about like boot camp and some of the guys that I went through training with and some of the training we went through. Because we also talk about like some of the guys that are just now getting out of the military, who went in just 4 years ago. I'm sitting there talking to these youngsters, and they're talking about the way boot camp is nowadays. And I'm like it's not like it was when we were in.
And you've only been out 16 years, right?
Yeah, not even that. I've only been out like 12 years or something. Yeah, so. But with the times it changes. Just like when I came out of boot camp, the people that were in before me that I was talking to were like, "Oh, y'all are a bunch of pussies. You can't." Every generation gets more, pussier.
Oh man! So what's the latest? You got Manhunt, Unabomber, TV miniseries, SWAT Leader.
Yeah. So,
credited role. Let's talk about SWAT Leader Manhunt for the Unabomber.
Oh man, you guys.
And by the way, you didn't catch him. His brother ratted him out.
I actually that was a really interesting kind of.
Did you do any shooting?
Blew my mind when I read that his brother, like, that's some really fucked up shit.
Yeah.
I'm not a big, I love my brother.
Yeah.
We're not like bestest of friends, but I can never rat him out.
I love my brother Donald, but it was the Unabomber. I mean, I would hesitate to mention it. For one thing, I wouldn't want to tick him off.
He's got my address.
Yeah, exactly.
I worked. That was amazing, and the way I even got that job was very cool. I was sitting in a hotel, getting ready to go to a meeting, and this gentleman walks up and he sits down next to me, and he's reading this like spiritual book from Shambhala Publications.
Wow.
And I'm a big fan of that publication.
So, seriously?
Yeah, so I like turned to him like, "Oh man, it's a good book, I love that publication, how long you've been into this kind of stuff." And he starts explaining to me how he's getting more into Zen and more into spirituality and things like that. And this happens to be Mr. Greg Unitas, who is the creator and director of that Showtime series. Oh, now I'm blanking.
Come on, help him out.
Greg Unitas. I keep thinking Johnny Unitas.
So I meet this guy, and I didn't even know who he was, right?
Did he write for The Wire? Greg Unitas?
Maybe.
It sounds really familiar.
Maybe. But he did this really, really big show on Showtime that was
Not
it
Weeds.
starts with a B.
Give me a hint.
Billions?
No, not Billions. It'll come to me. So I meet this guy, and he's like, okay, let's get some lunch sometime. We'll talk about books and whatnot. I'm like, cool. So we exchange numbers, and for like 4 months, we're going back and forth trying to schedule some time to meet up. And I don't Google people. I don't like meet somebody and then Google them. It's a lot. I just
That's insulting. We're well worth
Yeah, it's
Googling.
just disappointing, especially when you Google this guy. I mean, it's really disappointing.
Yeah, Jeff doesn't like anyone who has credits on IMDb.
That's why I don't Google people.
Jeff Sargent is uncredited. No, there's. Wow, by the way, Lynn Collins, you were Man Up for the Unabomber. You worked with Lynn Collins, the hot red-skinned alien from John Carter.
So 4 months go by with this guy. Then what happens?
We finally meet up for lunch, and then in the middle of our lunch, I start to finally realize, oh, this guy's a film director. He's a TV show director, and he's doing all this stuff, and he starts talking about these projects, and I'm like, oh, that's amazing. Like, he actually knew I was an actor, and I didn't even have to say anything. And
he directed House.
Banshee.
Yes.
Banshee.
Which is on Amazon now, by the way.
Yes, which is I actually watched all of that too. It was an amazing series. So I get a call out of nowhere one day that says, "Hey, I want you to come in and read for this part of this TV show that I'm working on right now." So I go to John Papsadier's office.
Oh, Automatic Sweat.
Right.
Worst edition I ever gave was for him.
Really?
I memorized the wrong scene. And they sent me 2 scenes, and I memorized the wrong one. It was for that the show about the circus in the 30s.
Oh, Carnival.
Yeah, I memorized the wrong. They go, all right, Patrick, we'd like to hear a scene, blah, 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 blah. And I started reading it, and he goes, no, the other one. I memorized the wrong scene, and I couldn't even it. And every time I saw his name, I would have flashbacks. It's like, oh!
I just gave you a good flashback.
Yeah, I know. Every time I hear John Papsadero, my brother would elbow me. He did all the Christopher Nolan Batman movies. My brother would elbow me because he was there when I memorized the wrong scene. God, that was horrible. Go on.
Yeah, no, so he invites me in. I audition. Now, originally, I went in for the brother of the main character of Sam Worthington's character. I go in for the brother for him. I do this like 2.5-page monologue, and they're like, "Oh, that's really good. Let's, we'll be in touch." And then I get a call the next day that says they actually are not gonna have me in for that role. They're actually gonna give me a bigger role, which is gonna put me in Atlanta for 10 days.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's cool.
So Greg really hooked it up,
Make sure you wish him a happy birthday next month, June 18th.
Happy birthday, Greg. But yeah,
Bravo.
Good deal, man.
They invite me down to Atlanta, and it was.
Did you like Hotlanta, by the way?
It was amazing. But it was weird because that time of my life was, it's such a story, like I was going through so much. This is like really one of the biggest roles of my career so far.
It was a well-regarded, highly rated miniseries.
Very highly rated.
Yeah.
And I had 10 days on set. I'm working with Paul Bettany.
Wow.
Genius actor.
You're working with the friggin' Vision.
Yeah, exactly. I'm working with Vision.
Yeah.
I remember being in a conversation, in like a little circle with Paul Bettany, Bobby, and a couple of the other actors.
You were the only guy you didn't recognize.
So I asked Paul, I'm like, when Paul's talking to us in his normal, regular person is when he's out of his character, and I'm like, I didn't know if we could like talk to you because I didn't know if you were gonna Daniel Day-Lewis this shit.
I love Daniel Day. Yeah, I know what you mean when you go.
So because when you watch Paul's work, he brings this authenticity to it, but he doesn't work like Daniel Day, which is just so. It was so wonderful to be around that type of energy, and so just being on that set and having that experience was amazing, but it was really hard for me to enjoy it. And what's so funny is, and he's going to find out here today, during the time that I was filming this show, my mom had just passed away.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
So I actually was visiting my mom, and then I left my mom's side
Oh
to
no.
go film.
Oh no.
You know, but she totally understand. She understood because, you know, this work is what I live for. I love this stuff, and I would be there for this.
She wants you. Well, you know, a great story, a terrible great story is Mark Singer from Beastmaster, from V. Mark Singer did a movie. We played a blind guy in college. You know,
See what I hear.
if you could see what I wow, exactly. Yeah. And what happened is Mark Singer's father was dying, and he got his first lead role. And if you could see what I hear, and his father basically said, "Go, you got to do this," you know. And his father passed while he was making the movie, and he was talking about that with me, and he just said it was, you know, it was his first movie, you know, not miniseries, not V or anything. It was his first real movie. So he went off to do this. And the family knew what he was doing. They knew he had to do it. And you know, it was just that, like leaving your mom knowing it might be the last time you see her, that's got to be hard.
Yeah, and, you know, the story between me and my mother is not, you know, the easiest one to tell at all either. And only in the past few years had I actually started to develop a relationship with my mother. And when I went to go see her on her deathbed was the first time that I saw her in 12 years.
Wow.
So to just literally see her for a day and a half and then pick up and have to go to Atlanta and film this show, you know, it was just really, really tough for me. And there was a lot going on also in my personal life. And, you know, but I learned a lot from it. And you know, you grow from these kinds of things, and it really does go to show that this is my heart and soul, what I do in this work. Wow. And, you know, I proved that to myself with my mother, but I also had to take some time off after that because, you know, when you lose a parent, and I've always heard this, when you lose a parent, there's something that it does to you, and I didn't understand that until it happened to me.
You know, I have friends who are losing their parents now. You know what I mean? And my dad died on my birthday, so that was a trip and a half. You know what I mean? And my friend just lost his mom, you know, this week, and it's like, it's weird because once it happened, it's a terrible club. No one can. Did you have both your parents now, or
they're both gone now.
Nobody prepares you for it. It's this amazingly crappy club you don't know about until you're in it. You know what I mean? I mean, nobody can tell you, oh, this is what it's like, because all the issues, all the emotions, they just rise to the, you know, Mother's Day. I mean, my mom's been gone 20 years, but Mother's Day puts a lump in my throat every year, you know?
Yeah, and this was the first Mother's Day that I had to...
You know, worst one then, yeah.
Yeah, and you know, it was weird because my mom's birthday is on December 31st.
My mom's was December 7th, so wow.
Yeah, so, you know, it's like, you know, when that time comes around, this was the first, you know, this past Christmas was the first time. And again, in developing this relationship with my mom, I would at least talk to her every year on her birthday. And, you know, and this year was the first time that I didn't talk to her on her birthday. And it did something. Oh, man,
I'm so sorry.
Like,
yeah.
It just did something to me.
Is she buried in, I hate to ask, is she buried here? Can you go see her?
She was cremated. And
but is there a cenotaph or something you can report to? Or?
No, we don't really do that in my family. You know, like once you're gone, we just,
just
give it to the
That's a very Ohio look on things.
Yeah, you know.
That's too cold.
Yeah, it is, you know, what's the point? You know,
no, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, a lot of my family, like all my family is going to be getting cremated. I think my grandparents were the last ones in my family to actually have burial graves and stuff like that. Like, I want to be cremated. I don't, you know.
I mean, yeah, it's an interesting approach. I mean, after going through a couple deaths in our family in like a 2-month period, I was like, what is the point? You know what I mean? I mean, you know, just dump me off and, you know, dump me off anywhere on the way to Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, you're going to live forever. You're going to live forever.
I want to be stuffed and put in a museum.
Well, I'm going to donate Jeff's body to science fiction.
Yes. Science fiction, right on.
I was jumping on the porch like Homo erectus.
I want to be created into like the Terminator, like Sam Worthington in Terminator Salvation.
First of all, you're the first guest on this show to say something nice about Terminator Salvation. And if you didn't have marine powers, I would kick you right in the nuts for mentioning that piece of crap movie. The only thing worse than Terminator Salvation is Terminator Genesis, which is when Arnold is 70,
yeah, but Katrina,
he can barely freaking move.
But Katrina Loca.
Skynet is Genesis.
But Katrina Loca in that movie was just bad.
Christina Loken is. I remember watching her eat a salad. I was doing an interview in a restaurant, and me and the guy I was interviewing, I can't even tell you who it was.
So you created your own dressing for your salad?
Yes. We're watching, but it's like that scene in Stand By Me where the kid wakes up and he sees the deer. I mean, you're watching Christina Loken tear the salad apart with these big eyes. It's like, oh my God, you don't want to say anything to make her run from the restaurant, but it's like every guy in that restaurant was watching her. It was like, and you're just like, you know, with every heartbeat of she's tearing at the salad, it's like this beautiful deer in the middle of a forest. Don't make any noise. She'll run away at the sound. Yeah. Well, but as beautiful as she is, that movie sucks. Every Terminator after two.
I didn't say it didn't.
He was using that as an analogy.
I know he was, and I appreciate that. Yeah. But you just mentioned Terminator Salvation
and they're playing it in
a non-pejorative sense, which drives me crazy.
That's what I'm here for. That's why he asked me to come on the show. So
there was no Terminator after Judgment Day. Okay, James Cameron gave up. It was done.
The thing with Sam Worthington, I didn't. He's a new actor to me. When I saw Avatar, I thought he was like, wow, this is a real military guy with bad. I didn't know they were fake legs.
No, and when Jeff saw Clash of the Titans, he said, "There's a real Greek god."
They asked him. So he was casted, and this is just from the inside scoop of what I know. But like he was casted for Avatar, and Cameron, I guess it was kind of he put him in Terminator Salvation.
Really? He made some calls?
Well, because Sam, he wasn't known. Nobody knew who he was. And he's getting ready to have this huge movie, Avatar come out, but nobody knows who Sam Worthington is. So, they threw him in Terminator Salvation.
Clash the Titans.
Kind of got him in.
He was one of those guys that gave him. But one of the interesting things, though, I keep hearing, and jump in on this, both of you. One of the things I keep hearing is there was a really terrible article. Terrible and well written. It kind of made sense. It was on how Avatar, I think it came out like 9 or 10 years ago now at this point. And they made like the Camerons made like 2 and 3 together at the same time. But they called it the #1 film of all time nobody remembers. You never really see it on TV. There were never really any action. They made these crappy little action figures, and I think there was a restaurant giveaway. Yeah. But in the way that Iron Man is 10 years old this year, and Iron Man's never gone away. You know what I mean? I mean, with the Avengers.
I've seen Iron Man numerous times. I've seen Avatar once.
Yes. And by the way, because that was the weirdest thing, because I interviewed Cameron for the release of Avatar on DVD, on Blu-ray and everything. And it was one of those things where you have to remember the movie. It's like, I mean, the script, in the script, he's getting into more drunken fights in his wheelchair, which the Cameron script is, I think, more interesting than the movie. He cut a lot of the great stuff where Worthington's being thrown out of bars where he's this disabled vet fighting. But unlike Infinity War, unlike Deadpool, there's nothing out there for Avatar right now. I mean, nothing.
Maybe that's why they haven't released 2 and 3 yet.
Because he shot them back to back in Ireland. It's about to come out. Yeah. And it's the weirdest thing, because people forget it was the #1 film of all time. People forget it was the first big made for 3D blockbuster. Remember, Cameron was one thing. He's a trendsetter. You can watch all the way back to like the Terminator movies and Aliens, where he looks at something and he tries to think about it in a different way. You know what I mean? I mean,
absolutely. That's why Alien, like to me,
Aliens,
Aliens, those 2 movies by far are such like next generation movies in their time.
And as a Marine, Cameron named all the Marines, all the Space Marines and Aliens, are named after the swing shift crew he worked with at New World Pictures, Roger Corman in Venice.
Oh, that's cool.
You know, I met Miller Drake was giving me Miller Drake was passing me drinks all night long when I said, "Oh, Drake," and I did a commercial, and Alan Apone was the makeup artist. And I go, "Hey, you're not the guy Cameron named Apone for." And and he's also done Sam Jackson's makeup in the last few Avengers movies, and he did Chris, what's his name for Captain America in the last. Yeah, and he was the Apone back in 1980-81 when Cameron was at New World Pictures. All the guys on Bill Paxton was on the swing shift crew. Paxton told me the story originally. All the guys on the swing shift crew with him, he goes, "I want a-holes and elbows. I want people who are going to work. And if you didn't work, Cameron chased you off the crew. He didn't want you if you're going to lollygag."
Right.
And so everybody in Aliens, Apone, Drake, all these guys, they're all named after these wonderful makeup and effects artists at New World Pictures.
That's really cool. That's really cool. I like how Cameron. That's really neat. How you can take such a personal feel and put it into your story like that. Because you're also paying respect to the people that you're working with.
Right. Exactly.
And that's just like here I'm going to dedicate this to you. Like my film mentor, his name is James Hosney, and he's a brilliant man. Film historian, AFI professor, the whole nine.
You went to AFI?
I didn't go to AFI, no, but I might as well have done because I get the knowledge that I get from this guy still.
Isn't that amazing? And I would crash AFI screenings just to hear them talk.
God. I've done so many short films with AFI.
I know them.
The best.
I've turned a lot of kids onto it. When I was teaching and they were like, "Oh, I want to do commercials," I would say, "Do AFI."
Yeah.
I mean, and I've done like 5 AFI shorts, and 3 of them have become real directors. You know what I mean? I mean, real working director. One commercial I did, one actress, her father was married to like this star of some show he was producing. So her stepmother was only like 4 years older than her. And on her set, Spielberg's, they had Spielberg's coffee man come down. And I knew him from another commercial I did. So I earned all these props because Spielberg's cappuccino man came down and knew me from this one set because I was eating his homemade biscotti and drinking his coffee all day. And I mean, everything I've done for AFI has led to something else, either a commercial or a movie. And AFI is like, it's like the people without the SC or UCLA connections. They go to AFI and they have the same drive and they get it going,
So much. It is such a wonderful program over there. Just because I've worked the same thing. I've done like 5 short films with them too.
And then you've always gotten a call once they go pro, which is amazing. Oh, yeah. And they go pro really fast.
Really fast. Yeah. Actually, a buddy of mine, Dustin, who did a short film with me like 3.5 years ago, he's got a new film that he's working on that he wants me to come out and play in now. So, it's nice because once these guys, they graduate from these prestigious schools and they get into these networks, they remember you, who you are. They remember your work.
And they remember you when they're broke, when it's on a tight budget. They remember you not being 3 hours late. They remember you knowing your lines. I
don't know about that. I've never been 3 hours late. I don't think I've ever been late.
But that's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? They're
yeah.
looking for real people who aren't going to disappoint them.
Yeah.
And every AFI thing I've done, I've treated like a real, like a real movie, even the shorts. Yeah. And when they get their first break, when they get their film or their commercial, they remember that you treated it that seriously. You know what I mean? I mean, you come down, you don't get involved in any of the BS set drama. You mind your own business and wait for your scene. You know?
Yeah, I did this movie just recently, and we had an actress on set, and I'm not going to say the name of the movie or the girl, but we had this actress on set, and she was just being a diva, man. Yeah. Like coming in, just this the world must respond to me.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, no, you're an actor. You're at the bottom of the totem pole, homie. It doesn't even matter if you're the star of the film.
Right.
Like, this is not anything about you. This has to do with the project, with the director, with the story, with your character. So for
my acting coach used to say, you're auditioning for your next gig. And if she's a diva and she's showing a play and she's throwing her attitude
all the time,
they're not going to hire this bee, you know?
Yeah, actually, what happened from that was, which is really cool because my part in the movie got beefed up.
Yeah, because she wasn't around. So
exactly. So she really screwed herself on this. So they actually ended up kind of cutting her a little bit more. And they called me back after, it was like a year and a half later, they called me back and asked me to come and say, hey, we got a couple more scenes we want to put you in, and also we got a character arc for you that we want you to play. So it was an entirely different character in the movie.
Seriously?
Yeah, so it's like, again, I don't want to go into too much about it.
No, but you're going to tell all three of us when we're off, when the mics are off.
Yeah, off the record.
We want to know the star.
The public eye. So, yeah, but it was, but just because I came in, I did my work, I shut my mouth.
Smart.
Didn't say anything. There was so many things that I could have said. My character did it. No, I just listened to my director. I stayed true to my character.
By the way, that's what they want.
And shut my mouth. Was on time and just did my job. And I've found that the more I do that, for some reason they want to keep working with me. Same thing on the Paramount film, Scouts vs. Zombies.
You did Scouts vs. Zombies.
Yeah,
who'd you play in that? The great Tony Gardner did the effects for that. Did you work with
Tony? Was amazing.
Wow. Isn't Tony great?
He's amazing.
He's over in Azusa. He's right by the brewery.
I know. I want to go back and see him and the guys again because
they're great.
I spent an entire day over there getting a cast put on.
Oh, they made you a zombie.
Yeah.
Wow, you got bit.
So. In Scouts vs. Zombies, I opened up the film in the first 10 minutes. Now,
you're the first guy to get bit.
Well, they cut out everything that we did. Like,
I heard that. Was it R-rated? I heard it was originally going to be very gory, and then they cut it back because of the kid thing.
Yes. So it was a really hard movie for, I think, the studio to sell because it was an R-rated teen movie.
And you're getting gore for free every week on Walking Dead. Why do you need, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But it was done, I thought it was done, really well for what Christopher Landon, the director, did.
Michael Landon's son, by the way.
Yeah, Michael Landon's son, which it was an honor to work with him, too.
Was he cool? Yeah, I mean...
he's cool. Everybody on that set, everybody, from the producers down to him and even the PA, just that whole entire set was so cool.
His dad was famous. I mean, when I was doing when I did my second book.
The Angel.
Yes. Touch by an Angel. Yeah. What he would do, one of the things, and the show I was covering for my second book was a lot of people who worked with him on A Little House and Touched by an Angel. And Landon was one of those guys. He would make sure on whatever series he was doing, he would yell cut one scene early from wrapping on Touched by an Angel and Little House on the Prairie. And by doing that, the studio would have to carry the crew through Christmas and New Year's. And he would give these guys like 2 weeks of extra pay they weren't going to get.
That's a nice thing to do.
Yeah, and the crews would walk through fire for this guy. I remember hearing all these stories. I wasn't even doing a book on either one of his shows, but they would bring up Michael Landon when they were talking about talented actor-directors who they loved. They would always bring up Landon, and they would always tell you how great Landon was doing that. And because he was the star, they're not going to say, hey, hustle, get the shot, put it in the can, get him out of there. They knew to keep him happy, they had to keep his crew happy, which is really touching.
Yeah, that is amazing. But every time you get a chance to take care of your crew or, the other members of your cast, you do it. And that's why it's important for an actor to come in, be prepared, shut your mouth, don't cause any problems, because at the end of the day, you've got about 75 to 150 people that are there that want to fucking go home.
$800 a minute.
Yeah. They want to go home. They don't want to sit there and wait for you. Like, I've been on those sets where it's like, God, this actor just can't get this one line. And it's like, God, like, come on, one line.
Yeah.
It's just one line, get it. And they're there an extra 2 hours for this one person because of this one person.
I've been there on set on TV shows where
Jeff's been that guy.
Will you shut I don't interrupt your shit. Every time I tell a story, you got to interrupt it.
Well, because it's True Tales of Extras holding with you.
Shut up. But I noticed that, like, when you probably see this when you can remember everybody's line, that person, because they can't get it right, and you'll see like the three main characters and know all their lines that they keep flubbing up.
Yeah,
over and over again.
I remember I was an extra. I was an extra on. This was years ago, but I was an extra on. It was like CSI New York, and they filmed out here. They filmed downtown LA.
There's a heartbreak. They always shoot at the same two buildings in downtown LA.
Yeah, so we were probably in one of those buildings.
Right. You're over by the Hotel Barclay. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And I remember. I don't know her name, but one of the female main cast members of that show. It's the Gary Sinise's partner, the tall, skinny girl with the curly hair.
Right.
So she. I remember I was in a scene where I had to be next to her, and she says something to me. I'm just an extra, but she says something to me, and then she walks off, right? But I remember talking to her before the camera was rolling, and she actually said that. She was like, the only advice I would ever give you is just make sure you come to set and you're always fucking prepared. You know, and it's like, it's true because, you know, this is coming from somebody who does TV, who gets a script 5 minutes before they walk on set.
Exactly.
You know, and it's like, how do you prepare for that? You know your character. It's all, your character inside and out. That way when the director or the scriptwriter comes and says, we want to change this, you know, because that happened to me on Manhunt. Right before we broke for lunch, we had this huge scene we're getting ready to do. It's the scene that you see in the show right now. It was much longer, but it was very redundant. You know, the writing, it was really very good writing, but what we were saying was just kind of the same thing over and over in this entire page aspect. So at lunch, the writer, the director, Bobby, and me, we get together at lunch, and like the writer and the director invite me to come over and ask, like, you know, what do you think about this scene? What do you know? And I'm like, you're really asking me this? You know, like you're Greg Unitas, you know what I mean? Like, but you know,
you need to give the small leader more lines.
And that's kind of what I thought. I was like, is this a test? Yeah. Should I say no? You need more lines for this character. No, I said I would
totally cut me, Greg. Go on, sorry.
Exactly. I was actually very honest. I was like, yeah, you're right. I think it's a little redundant and we could cut half of this. And it's like for an actor to come out and say, yeah, cut some of my lines is unheard of.
You called an airstrike on yourself.
Right. I really did, but but you know, it wasn't about me or that. It was about the project. It was about the story. And this story, the SWAT team leader, and just know this character, SWAT team leader, he's a real guy.
Wow. You know, did you meet him on set?
I didn't meet him, but I did meet a lot of the FBI agents that were.
Did you really? The guys who caught the Unabomber?
I don't know if they actually. Nobody was being very hush hush about it, but some of the guys who actually participated in the raid and things like that. So yeah,
they said a lot of times. The writer director of Only in America, what's the guy Don King story? There is a scene where Don King, played by Ving Rhames, is killing somebody, and a detective comes up and grabs him and arrests him. And I interviewed the director, John McNaughton, I think. Anyway, I asked him about that scene. I said, did Don King have a problem with that? And he goes, we've been hearing he was going to sue us. You know, he was making noise about suing us. So he goes, so I cast the guy who arrests him very carefully. And I go, who did you get? He goes, I got the guy who arrested Don King for murder once he was standing over the body. Wow. And he goes, there's no, Don King can't say S because it's the same guy from his same report from when he busted him for murder.
Yeah, that's, you know, and you know, same thing with those guys on Manhunt. They really did their, you know, due diligence. They went and they did the research for this thing. They talked to the real guys. I try to read everything on even the SWAT team leader who came from California to go out there and you know, handle this raid. So it was a really cool story.
Wow.
To be a part of.
Let's get Jeff. He drove all the way from Vegas to get here.
Talk to us, Jeff.
Now, when you were mentioning filming it, everything that films in New York seems to be filmed here, and I see that, Jeff, you did a New York Vice, and then you got a Las Vegas Vice. So
those are series that are just coming up. I mean, I got involved in that pretty much by accident. Now I'm in both series as a district attorney.
Bravo! All right. You're a district attorney.
Yeah. So he's from what I understand, it's going to be like a CSI or Law and Order, but launching all the franchises at once.
Wow!
But I'm not sure. I think it's it happens near the end of this year. But yeah, I think I saw a post.
They're both in pre-production, right?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. And so they both filmed in Las Vegas or what?
I believe they're going to be here in L.A.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't suppose you were the same Jeff Fields in Wedding Crashers, were you?
Wedding Crashers.
Yeah.
I'd like to be in there, but no.
Okay.
That's one of my favorite comedies.
Wait. Let's. Okay, let's talk about actors that are hard to work with. I heard this guy was. Tell me if he was an a-hole or not. Kevin, Paul Blart.
Oh, Kevin James.
Kevin
Be
James.
careful. He works all the time. Don't fall for Jeff's little trap.
Well, I seen it on there. It's all actors that are hard, that are not nice to their fans.
Yeah, but that's just clickbait.
That's just clickbait.
And I don't want our guests to come on and trash somebody who
What
works
was
all
it
the
like
time.
working with Kevin James on Paul Blart Mall Cop 2?
From everything I saw, he was a nice guy, hardworking. He was always
Smart.
He was always concentrating, but there was never like any diva or I'm a star or anything of that nature. So.
Oh, okay.
How dare you ask our guest that?
You're a nice guy.
Yeah.
If there was
So
an actor-
where did you? Where was that film?
It was all
What mall?
pretty much all at the Wynn
At,
in Vegas.
Really? You shot Paul Blart Mall Cop in Vegas?
Yeah.
Wow.
so
How long you been in Vegas?
Let's see. I lived there from '99, and I lived there up until 2016, and I still just go travel back and forth.
Wow. What'd you get your set card on?
Commercial. Back when the Paris first opened up, they did a national commercial. And at the time, I didn't even know it until I was on set. I was still very green. All I pretty much knew about the acting world was just theater. Wow. And I just got on the set. Oh, by the way, you're going to get your SAG card for this. Really?
Wow.
Oh man, it comes so easy.
No bitterness, Jeff. This is your show.
I've been on set. I was when I did that O.J. Simpson thing, right, with John Travolta, right, and this guy from Germany is that he gets on the set. He fresh over from Germany, first day of acting on the set, he gets a Taft-Hartley, man. Heavy German accent. Oh, I'm just an actor now. I just do this for a living. I'm like, you son of a bitch. Okay, keep going on.
Meanwhile, Jeff is in extras putting all the pop cans quietly into his bag.
And all the craft services.
Extra work's hard work, man. You know, you just got to sit there and
Jeff is giving himself a whore bath in the
Oh God! It's the other ones. It's some of these ones that are just gluttons that just hog the food. Like you don't have to overeat because it's given to you. You know.
I remember a fat guy. There was a fat guy on. I had a line that got cut in Truman Show, so I got to hang out on the set of Truman Show for like 3 weeks. I was there when they fired Dennis Hopper. Dennis Hopper had the who's the intense bald guy who played Kristoff? Ed Harris. Thank you.
Yeah.
So the Hopper was perpetually stoned, and he's fighting with Peter Weir, the director. Man, this whole script is bass backwards, man, bass backwards. So they fire him, and they get Ed Harris, and Ed Harris has carrot juice, and that's all he drinks: carrot juice, carrot juice.
That's it, huh?
Wow.
And I noticed that the extras on the scenes with him keep trying to
Get his carrot juice.
get into it. Well, they
there's a
keep
little
trying.
something in that character.
Yeah, there was a guy in the control booth with him, and it was all the guy had to do was shut up, and he was going to work 2 months, and he'd have SAG benefits the rest of the year. And Ed Harris is doing all this, acting with his eyes. So this moron starts spinning. There's like a spinning device that you're not supposed to touch, and he starts spinning it for no reason at all, just to keep himself in the frame. And Ed Harris just smacks him on the elbow. Knock it off on camera, in character.
Oh yeah.
And there was this big fat guy, and everyone was excited because he's the big fat guy carrying a crate in the Matthew Broderick Godzilla who looks up when Godzilla touches land. So you couldn't move this guy. He parks himself in craft service, and he starts drinking the carrot juice, even though the girl kept telling him that's not for you. And Ed Harris goes right up behind him like a shark, and he goes, "You enjoying my carrot juice?" And he still doesn't know. You know, he's the one wildebeest at the watering hole who doesn't know there's a lion by him. Yeah. And they just fired his ass. They frog marched him off that set. I mean, it was just, he's drinking Ed Harris's. Everyone was told this is Ed Harris's, and this fat slob starts drinking because it wasn't for him. So immediately he wanted the carrot juice.
Why's Ed got to hog all the health, man?
This guy's like 400 pounds. There was no chance of him having health. He just decided to have it because Ed Harris was having it. So
maybe he's trying to.
So did you see Kevin? What is Kevin James eating at craft service?
Let's see. They would always take off and go eat someplace fancy. We would be sent to the EDR or something like that.
Wow. That's hilarious.
How many weeks were you on that? Were you on that for a while, or just a couple days, or one day?
Let's see, off and on for the entire shoot. Whenever they needed certain people in the mall copy uniform at the convention, we would all get there and start talking and just.
That's hilarious.
People, did they? Was Paul? I can't remember. I remember him riding that Segway. Man, have you ever rode one of those?
I haven't, but I think it would be really cool. Yeah.
Wow.
And what about, you've got some really cool short movies. What was your favorite short movie you've done?
I did one called Jasper. That actually won Best Short for a short film festival. It was submitted to. That was a lot of fun.
How long was it?
All the day. It took about a month, but it was about a 6-day shoot.
Really?
Yeah.
And how long was the film?
25 minutes.
25 minutes?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. So you entered film festivals and that?
Mm-hmm. Well, let's see. I showed up for work. The director took care of all the submitting and seeing where everything was going.
Wow.
And was that shot in there in Vegas?
That was shot in Vegas, yeah.
And we got quite a few here.
Yeah, read some of his credits.
What's Heidi? What's that about?
Heidi, that was a horror movie that I actually got just a day player part in. It was about 95% done.
Really?
And they just needed someone who... I haven't even seen this movie yet, but I hear it's really good. Where I walk up to a house and there's a clown there with an axe. I see him and then I run away. He runs after me, and that was my big part in that movie.
Yeah, run when you see a clown with an axe.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
had to be hard to be scared in that one.
Yeah, just act scared. Run. Okay, here. And as soon as the shoot's over, here's your money. Thank you.
That's too
But
funny.
I heard the movie is really good, but I haven't seen it.
Wow.
now here's a movie named after a David Bowie song, "The Man Who Sold the World."
That one, let's see, that's another one I did a day player role for, and I don't think it's been sold to a production company, but I don't know who, and I think it should be out before the year's up.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Who's in Heidi?
Heidi? I don't know.
Oh.
In a way, I feel like I've just kind of gotten back into acting like a year or so because I was living in Vegas for a number of years. Vegas isn't really an actor's city. It's more for entertainers and models. And I did a lot of indie filming out there, a lot of projects that never even got completed. I mean,
Really?
Once I got to about a dozen, I just stopped counting. So out of frustration, I just I started writing again as a creative outlet.
Yeah. Well, what's it like to be a suicidal man in a bathtub?
Suicide.
This movie's called The Auction.
The Auction.
You could tell him.
That one just came out. It's a bit of a horror movie. It's known as the last movie ever shot at the Riviera before it was imploded.
Oh,
Really?
wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I played a guy who it's one of an opening montage where apparently I've gambled my life savings away and I commit suicide in a bathtub.
Wow.
That could be a common thing there in Vegas. A lot of these gamblers that are problem gamblers that gamble their life away.
What'd you do on New York Vice?
New York Vice?
Yeah, 2 episodes.
Those haven't come out yet. The Vice series?
Yeah.
Yeah, they haven't come out yet.
Wow.
We haven't even
Yeah,
shot
those are
anything.
pre-productions. That's what we talked.
Pre-production.
Both film New York filming in Vegas, right?
Or L.A. I mean,
You can film New York anywhere, right? I mean,
I
there's
always
back
like-
alleys here in Ontario that look like New York.
I've always actually wanted to shoot in New York, like film in New York, the actual city. You know, not just being in New York.
Right,
You know,
right,
but, like,
right.
actually film in New York. There's this energy there that.
The terrible thing though is you'll probably, if you do it in New York, it'll be New Orleans or Atlanta playing New York. I sat through. I read for a bunch of magazines and I covered Battle of Los Angeles.
Oh my gosh! I was just talking about this movie the other day. I
God.
walked out.
Yeah.
I walked out after like the first 15 minutes of the movie.
Well, that's a L. Ron Hubbard story for you.
No, it's not. No, Battle of Los Angeles. What was the military stuff wrong? Is that why you walked
The
out?
whole movie was wrong. Like, you know, I would actually have to see it again. But yeah, there was just something about that movie that just like was so it just nothing.
It takes place in Santa Monica, and I was sitting there. The whole press junket was at the where they hold the AFM. It was the hotel on Ocean Avenue, and then they had the press screening. And I'm watching the movie, and I'm thinking the aliens have landed. The aliens are coming out of the water in Santa Monica, and it just seemed like a no-brainer. Why aren't the troops fighting them at the promenade? I can't wait to see the promenade. The reason we never see the aliens battle the armed forces at the promenade, remember, it's like they're coming out of the veterinarian's office. And I kept thinking, why would you pay to shoot in Santa Monica and not do the promenade? You know, or you know, the Third Street promenade or the pier. And I kept thinking, they're not fighting at either place. They're fighting at a veterinarian's office. And then sure enough, I watched the ending credits, and when the Georgia Peach came up, I thought, oh, those effers. They never even shot in Santa Monica.
Oh, man.
That's so disappointing.
So that's why, Mr. Marine, you were disappointed, because you sensed you weren't really in Los Angeles for Battle of Los
Oh,
Angeles.
man, you're in Atlanta, man. You're at Tyler Perry Studios.
Yeah.
Oh, man, disappointment.
You can always tell when it's like when it's a real, like, you know, Tarantino's films. They're just he's really in that place, you know, and it's really cold or it's
Yeah.
you know, and it's like there's this when you watch something, there's this connection you have with the real stuff versus anything else. You know, you can put CGI and visual effects and all that stuff on it, and it will feel great and all, but like when you're really shooting in these locations and then you watch it on the big screen, it's like there's just this real energy about it that comes off that you feel. For me, at least.
I think you're right, though. If you look at Star Wars episodes 1, 2, and 3, everybody on screen looks and feels bored, and that's because he shot the whole thing on a green screen. So everything they're looking at are like tennis balls and green backdrop. Whereas, like you said, Tarantino's next film is on the Manson murders in '69. He's going to be shooting on Cielo Drive. You know he is. You know, and he's going to go to the actual Folgers. You know, he's going to go where this stuff happened. And I think that's a lot more interesting than 3 hours on a green screen. You know,
Yeah, it's like, you know, they shot that Dr. Martin Luther King movie. You know, like, didn't they actually film it on the bridge that he walked across?
Yeah, although remember, because King copyrighted all his speeches.
Right.
You'd have to pay the King estate to use the speeches. So they made up a lot of his speeches in the movie, which is sort of, you know, I know they had.
Why wouldn't you not want to put that kind of history in a film? Like,
Right.
Like, why would they not allow that? You know, that is the message that we're trying to put out to the people.
Exactly. So you get kind of Martin Luther King lights, you know what I mean? Peace, love, you know, it's like a John Lennon movie where he can't sing any Beatles songs.
Right.
Oh, man.
Interesting. So what's the hard part about shooting in Vegas, Jeff?
The hardest part about it?
Yeah.
Not really anything. I mean, if it's an outdoor shoot, maybe if it's really
If
hot.
you want to talk into this, Mr.
If
Professional.
it's really hot or it's really cold, then it's annoying. But most people most productions who go to Vegas, they want to shoot in the casino if they're on the Strip, on the Fremont area.
Now, when your stuff starts getting adapted, when God willing,
That's what I would love.
Would you love them? Could you sit there and watch them shoot your movie in Vegas, or would you be trying to dead mother them in? You know, Janice wouldn't do that.
Oh, you mean any of my books?
Yeah.
None of them are set in Vegas in any way. I've never really. Maybe it's because I'm kind of tired of Vegas.
Wow.
But I've never included Vegas in any of my books at all, unless it's
20 years of CSI have burned you out in your own little hometown.
Yeah.
Oh.
Now, when an author, when you take a book, your book, and you want to make a screenplay, do you have to rewrite it? Do you hire somebody else to make a screenplay? How does that work?
I've never gotten that far. The first profession I ever really seriously wanted to be was as a writer. Acting came later, and then acting wasn't going the way that I would have liked, because I was
Never does.
Yeah,
That's what you need to have something to fall back on.
well, because of family obligations, I was trapped in Vegas for a lot of years. So I feel like I've only been really getting back into it for about the past year.
Some guy in Minnesota up to his ass in snow is thinking, screw you, stuck in Vegas.
Yeah. But yeah, I would love to sell the rights to my books to any of a major studio. You know, Disney, hey, I'm talking to you.
But when you look at, I read a book by the guy who created CSI. You know, on how
He used to be the tram driver
at that
between between the Treasure Island, now known as TI, and
No shit.
Mandalay
Wow.
Bay.
And
And
his
he's a
mom-
multimillionaire.
And his mom was a cashier at Terrible's.
Well, okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's in the book. And so this guy had, and the amazing thing is, and the hilarious thing is, when the book came out, he's giving all the credit to his wife, because his wife was watching the A&E documentary where he got the idea for CSI. And in the book, he's making, every time a CSI New York, Louisiana, he's getting creator rights of like $7,500 per show per week.
Wow.
And then, of course, when he's on the book tour, the wife files for divorce, and he's on every show demanding that, you know, no, this is all me. But it's in the book that, you know, she put on the New Detectives episode that inspired it.
Uh-huh.
And all I can think of reading the book is the guy, the producer of the New Detectives, where they did the CSI episode this guy saw that made him a multi-millionaire. He must be kicking himself in the effing A, because he put $1 million idea out there that a tram driver in Vegas. You're still doing crappy reenactments for A&E, and this guy is living like a lion up in Vegas.
All these CSIs out here.
They're stinking with the CSIs, and the hilarious thing is, like you said, half of them, you know, half of them are shot in New Orleans anyway. But all the pickups are out here, so you'll see a street that sort of looks like Louisiana, and you'll be seeing.
That's Abbott Kinney.
Yeah, exactly. They love Abbott Kinney down in Venice. Anytime it's Louisiana, it's Abbott Kinney all the way.
Now,
CSI was only in Vegas maybe 2, 3, 4 days a year at the most, just for exteriors.
Pickup shots.
That was.
my first extra gig was a CSI. It was down at the Hollywood Park racetrack.
The director said, "You're
And
stop talking."
they set up a fake casino. You know, they brought in fake
No, they have a real- they have
slot
a real-
machines and all that. And
They have a
roulette
real
tables.
casino area there, though, so they probably expanded that,
but
right?
they brought the slot machines and roulette tables, and that was supposed to be Vegas pulling up, and
This reminds me of a rare fun time I actually had doing extra work years ago. It was for a CSI. They had us dressed up like cops, and we were walking the Fremont area. And here we are in our uniforms and whatnot, and they look very realistic. And so during our lunch, we're driving down, we're walking down under the canopy where all the characters are. Apparently, all the characters are scared to death of the cops because you have to have a license to order.
That's
to do
right.
it.
That's right.
gosh.
So we
Woody
used to just
Woodpecker and
walk by-
Batman and all
and
that.
they're wackier than the ones on Hollywood Boulevard.
And the ones on Hollywood Boulevard
yeah.
are mentally ill. So,
Yeah,
you know.
oh yeah.
So whenever we would walk by, they would look at us and turn absolutely pale. Like we were gonna you show us your license or you're gonna go to jail. So we got into the habit of every time we walked by, just go like,
Ha! You do the cops there?
just go like, and just keep walking back and forth like we were just checking him out, where I'm gonna, and we were just scaring him to death. It was so much fun.
And Mickey,
police officer.
Mickey Mouse and this is Mickey
God.
Mouse and Shrek are sweating bullets.
Oh gosh, yeah, and they're horrible costumes. I saw a guy,
Sweat. The real
Iron Man
sweat.
on crack. I mean, I saw this guy, and
You know what kills me is these like tour buses, these like janky, beat up, rusty, stinky looking tour buses that people spend money on to go just like venture what you could do in your $35 a day rental. You know, they just drive you around, and half the stuff they show you, I don't even think.
I've read that in the LA Times. That half of it they'll put in a random house and make it BS.
Yeah.
And it's more fun to go to the actual.
Or the person doesn't live there anymore.
Well,
Maps to Stars Home.
Well, that's the misconception that the public, that the general public has about Hollywood is like, things, and I don't give a damn. I'll put this business out there all day long. Sure. Like, it's bullshit how, these celebrities will go and buy homes, and then these people will make money by driving by saying, oh, so-and-so lives here. But no, they actually bought this house, but they don't even live here.
They'll lease it out.
They lease it out. They sold it, or they're in some kind of investment marketing deal. It's such bullshit, and we feed middle America such bullshit with the things that we do on a lot of TV and stuff, man. And it's sad, and that's why a lot of the outbursts in the world is happening, is because we feed people bullshit from this town, so that's what I love about this show, is you can come on here and you can say the realest shit ever.
Well, you guys, again, we are embarrassing us because we have two great guests at the same time. That's really, to me, this is really exciting because you guys both have interesting points of view. You know what I mean? I mean, yours coming from military, yours coming from Vegas, literary. I mean, and yet you guys mesh perfectly. I'm enjoying your stories. Thank you. I'm enjoying both of your stories. You know what I mean? Because when you both arrived, they thought, oh no, this is going to be a train wreck. They're both good, and we can't have time for either of them.
Well, when was the last time you were at Vegas, Pat? What did you experience there? Has it been a while?
You know what? I'll tell you. The last time I was in Vegas, it's kind of interesting. I was there I read for Star Trek the magazine, and I was covering one of the Star Trek conventions. So we were staying. It's at the Rio. It's Super Money Vegas. We're staying at, what is that riverboat gambling one called? We were staying across the way. There's this janky little casino. Orleans? Yes, thank you. Wow. And this really fascinated me. And if I brought my old camera, if I brought my old phone, I would have the photos to show you. My brother Donald knows every nook and cranny. He's like a tunnel rat. Anywhere you go, he'll find you. The easiest way, the most easy way to eat or go and stuff in Vegas. And we're on the roof of the parking garage for the New Orleans. Yeah, Orleans, where we're staying. Really cheap. Mm-hmm. And Donald goes, that's interesting. And I walk over, and an elderly couple of gamblers have just been run over by an SUV that kept going.
Holy
shit. Oh, my God.
And so they're in pools of blood, and people are stopping to take pictures. Because we're on the parking garage watching this. And there was a big storm rolling in because people were running across the street all day to go to the Star Trek convention, but also to go to the Rio. You know what I mean? And there was that one little road. Well, I guess this truck had a bad time in Vegas, and on the way out, this elderly couple, they weren't fast enough, and they got run over, and he just kept on going.
That's so sad.
Now the CSI, the crew came in, and this is what really fascinated me.
The real CSI.
The real CSI Las Vegas. Because there was a big storm coming in. I'd never seen this before. The homicide guys took a spray can, circled everything, and the next day when you walked, once it was raining, you could see it in this purple spray paint that they would remove it later. But I have pictures of this, and it says shoe, wallet, purse, tooth.
Wow.
And it was all circles. And that was my last time in Vegas. But I'd never seen any. It was very disturbing. It was disturbing to Donald as well. But what he was pointing out to me wasn't the dead old couple in a pool of blood. he was shocked by all the people doing pictures.
Taking for the gram and things like that. I was actually going to ask you this, like, what, how is your social media game?
Yeah.
So I'm just on everything I can: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram.
Are you active?
LinkedIn. All the time?
All the time?
Pretty much always posting.
Yeah. See, not me. Like, I've had the hardest time with social media.
I noticed you didn't have. That's why I said send me pictures of on set. Where there's. I didn't see any acting like or military action stuff for the.
I don't have anything, and that's what's been a big obstacle for my career is because actors. We tend to get out here, we take selfies, and we take pictures of us on set, and we're always,
guilty.
And we get a picture. I put it like this: like I got a best friend of mine, right? He, you walk into his home, and on his wall is like a picture of him and every celebrity he's met.
Oh, I'm kind of like this one director we know, huh?
Oh yeah.
Which is fine. Like it's totally cool because that's your inspiration. I dig it, but my point in this is like, he like it's like what inspires me is not Clint Eastwood. Like, yeah, he's inspiring, and I look for great work when I go to Clint Eastwood. But like, what inspires me is literally the moment that I'm in, the people around me. You two inspire me. You inspire me. I know the struggle.
Shucks.
You know what I mean? Like that's the kind of shit in my life that inspires me. So when you talk about the social media game and stuff, I've had the toughest time is because I battle. I go back and forth between like, yeah, I want to get into it, but then I don't want to get into it because I don't like the way it makes me feel.
My big brother was like that. My late big brother Tom, he didn't believe in social media. He just said, you have to put this out there. You have to stick with it. And Jeff and I have had this argument before. I don't live on social media, and I know a lot of people do, and I think it's good for their career. If I'm pimping something, if my new book is out, or when I get an acting gig, when I get a commercial, I don't tell anyone. I just and if it's worth mentioning, someone will mention it because it'll be out there.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I mean, I got the biggest commercial of my life like 2 years ago. The next year, I got an AT&T commercial, paid really well, but you barely see me in it. The CGI direwolf didn't come out the way they wanted. So, you know what I mean? The shot was quick. I didn't say anything, and, nobody mentioned it. I was fine with that. I still got paid. But it's the people who think the world demands, and you and I have talked about it. We have several friends who do this. The people who think the world demands them posting all day. 9 a.m. I'm on the internet. Yeah. Here I am. I'm living the incredible life. Well, if it is, you wouldn't be on the Facebook at 9 a.m. telling me how important and amazing and exciting your day is. Just shut up and do the work.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Just do the work. That's the biggest.
My apologies for being a social media whore. I'm sorry.
You're complete on social media.
I'm cutting. Well, I have cut down.
You have.
I have cut down.
Because I told you that people are looking at your social media and they're thinking, well, Mr. Excitement here is posting it at 1 in the morning. Okay, but now Mr. Excitement's posting at 6 in the morning. And I mean, it's so crazy when you get idiots posting their plates of food. What the hell is that about?
That you can't eat.
Yeah, and it's not that.
And I'm hungry.
And that's why I'm so back and forth about the social media stuff is because I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing or like people on there all the time. Like, yeah, if you're on there all the time, it's unhealthy. But
every idiot who takes a picture at the gym. I have my rule. I don't take my phone to the gym.
This is awkward to me.
Yeah. Here I am. We got duck face. There's your duck face. Here I am. I'm
Blue steel.
Awkward. That is, honestly, what's really awkward to me is I like in my personal life, and this is why I'm not so active on social media, especially like I don't really get on Facebook ever. I'm barely on Instagram. I post hardly anything. Stories I'll do sometimes. But I'm going to start even taking it to Twitter a little bit more because you don't have to. I'm a little awkward. Like in my personal life, I don't like pictures.
Right.
I don't like being on video. I don't.
Well,
I don't even do interviews.
You've got a military mindset, which is interesting, where they tell you, you don't stand out, don't draw attention to yourself.
Okay.
And I mean,
Terry posted on here. Her cuisine is my creative outlet. Yes, I've had barbecues at your house when we went out there shooting guns. She's got a firing range. You have badass barbecues. Thank you, Teresa.
but I mean,
well, if you got badass barbecues, you have to post that.
Yeah, this is true. No, Teresa, if you're cooking that yourself, I mean, if you go to Sizzler and go, hey, this is what I got coming up.
No, she does everything. She makes all her stuff. Yep.
But like Jeff, I write. I write all night, and that's why the show originally killed me because we're in the mornings. But now that we've cut it to 3 days a week, it's better because I write all night. You know what I mean? I write for England. I write, and I mean, we're used to not being noticed. You know what I mean? I mean, you're from like midnight to 6. Or sometimes midnight to 4, I'm writing. You know what I mean? I'm getting my work
Those
done.
are the most creative things. Do you experience that too, Jeff?
I'd say the morning hours when you wake up and your mind is the most open. Then
No. You've been stewing on it all day. It's midnight. I started midnight to 2.
What about 3 in the morning? Have you ever written like 3 or 4 in the morning?
Occasionally,
any
I've gotten
paragraph?
up where I can't sleep, and I have this idea. I'm like, you know what? I just want to finish this chapter. I'll just go up and you know.
It's between finishing that chapter and drunk dialing your ex. I would always finish the chapter.
Is that set you up?
Yeah, exactly. Here's some pictures you might find interesting.
But it is sad though, because like I've missed out on so much by not posting on social media. And like I sent you pictures.
Yes. Now and then the promo
Jeff said that's Jeff writes-
for today's show. Bam! Went right to your.
Jeff writes back, that's a wonderful penis.
Oh, that was my forearm, Jeff.
Extroverts versus introverts. Right? You're more of an introvert.
Yeah.
I'm severely introverted.
You're severely introverted.
Yeah.
My brother has a friend who lives on the internet. The guy lives on the internet. He was so bad, he was posting pictures of roaches climbing on his wall. And it's like, what the hell's wrong with you? You don't post that S,
Middle America, they can get that entertaining. Oh my God, there's a roach on the wall.
Yeah, and he goes, I'm watching a roach climb my wall. It's like, moron, why would
Next
you
you know,
post
there's
that?
a soundtrack out there about a roach on the wall.
Hey, Pat, what about this morning when I was waiting for you to come out to the car? What did I do on the sidewalk?
You loudly belched. That's what it's in my chihuahua.
No, what did I take a picture of?
Oh,
Two snails making love.
He took a great shot of 2 snails fornicating.
They were fraternizing, and then I had another one, Turbo the Snail. I put a filter on it. I posted it on Instagram.
Because Jeff
Beautiful snail picture.
But he shot 2 fornicating squirrels, and because Jeff is such a moralist, he immediately crushed them both.
Squirrel porn.
Die, sinners! You aren't married. But we've talked about this, and I have actress friends, and I don't know why some actors do this, but my actress friends do this all the time. I've got like 3 actress friends who got a big
Auditions. The Jinx.
Got a big audition tomorrow at Ocean Park for Sprite. Wish me luck.
But you can't do. That's the thing, though, and you're not supposed to be doing that.
No,
we sign NDAs all the time, and you go into these things like you can't be posting anything about that kind of stuff.
More importantly, you're putting a giant freaking target on your back.
Yeah.
All these girls are your age, your height, your weight, your range. They're all going to call their agents, and they're going to go, I know there's a Sprite edition at Ocean Park tomorrow. Get me on it. And the same girl cluelessly posted, wow, I was so surprised and happy to run into so many old friends in the edition today. You called an airstrike on yourself. Yeah. Just shut up, do the edition. If you get it, great. Don't say a damn thing. People will notice if,
Like she advertised it, then all her friends that fit her description went and got the job.
They did. You and I talked about this. You met this girl. No names, but how? And she is so clueless. She thinks all her friends just happen to be on that edition. You rang the dinner bell. Yeah, you had an edition, which was yours and yours alone, and you and the 400 other people coming in. But you spotlit it because you have so little going on. It drives me crazy. I think Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, those are tools. But if you live on them, it's a calorie-free meal.
It's the same thing in the military. Like the military thing that's going on right now with all these castings for military roles. So I'm a part of all these military and veteran organization veteran organizations, and some of them have to do with entertainers and actors and artists and things like that. And every time there's somebody's posting on Facebook or somebody's posting here, go check out this, go check it. And it's like, I get it. There's a support in the community. It's
take them, but take advantage of that. If they're telling you there's an edition that you're good for, go on it.
Yeah, I
agree. If they're stupid enough to put that out there,
I totally agree. Because your chance is just as good as the person who posted it.
Well, actually, your chances are better because you weren't stupid enough to let everyone else know.
True. Your chances are much better because these casting directors and stuff, they go and they do their due diligence and they say, okay, who's posting what?
Right.
They do their own hashtag.
They watch.
Research. Yeah. They research. I know. I've been on sets where I've been. What was it? I was on this set recently of this new show that I just did. They fired a girl on set because she was posting stuff on set on her Instagram.
Yeah. I mean, it's the age where if it's not on my Instagram page, it didn't happen. It's not real. And I think it's more or less a millennial thing. I'm Generation X, so you know what I mean? I mean, you shut up, you do the work. And
I'm a millennial.
Yeah, you're a self-aware millennial.
I'm on the bridge.
Yeah.
I'm on the bridge.
You're a self-aware millennial.
I'm holding the hands with Generation X and the millennials.
You're in the middle, yeah. But because you're military, you've been trained by much smarter men than myself to shut up and do the work.
Man, I'll be honest with you, as an actor who was in the military, there was a lot about the military that I did have to shake off. And, the guy who vetted me, once I started booking roles like national commercials and studio films and things like that, this guy who came in, he vetted me and he's like, you got to crush that military mindset. Because as a military guy, I don't want to go into a casting office and think, well, he's military, let's be extra sensitive with him, or we don't know what kind of trouble he's having.
He's fragile. He might be having PTSD.
I don't want you to think. No, I don't even want you to think of me as a military guy.
He's gonna kill us all with a rubber gun.
Right. I'm coming in paintballing everybody, and
war's over, soldier.
Two super soakers in my hands, But no, it's this look, I am an actor, okay? I am a human being who happens to act, who happens to do other things, but first and foremost, I am a human being. I feel, I get hurt, I get happy, I get sad, I get angry, I get anxiety. I go through all of these emotions. I'm a human being. My military is just an experience in life that I went through.
But it is an experience right now, especially in movies and TV, that can serve you really well. I mean, there's a reason you're the SWAT leader, because you know how to handle guns.
There was a guy who I wanted to come with me this morning. His name is Jody Hart. He started combat casting in Los Angeles, and he really is the guy who helped us military guys get these kinds of jobs and where we're at today.
Dale Dye used to do that.
And Dale Dye, Dale Dye. I'm
Platoon. I mean, when you look at Dale Dye's work in Platoon and Saving Private Ryan, which you mentioned earlier, that was Dale Dye all the way.
I'm trying to work on something with Dale Dye as we speak.
By the way,
so
salute him for me.
And it's guys like Dale Dye, like Jody Hart, that come in to Hollywood and say, what we see on TV is not fucking real. So why don't you actually put real military members in there as your background actors, as your military unit, as your SWAT team unit, and you will you will save money, you will save time, you don't have to train them, you don't have to worry about micromanaging them. They know what to do.
And they're going to crack your leads. You being on set on a war movie is so much more valuable because you're an honest-to-God Marine who can actually whisper to Greg Unitas or someone, he's holding this gun wrong or he's doing that
absolutely. Wrong. I was on Manhunt, and I had to, I don't know anything. I know nothing. I put it out there. But the couple things that I do know, I did mention to the FBI. That I was like, hey, do you realize that, I don't know if I'd have a beard, but we Hollywood things, which is cool. But even as a military guy who has the experience, I still have to go to my peers and say, hey, listen, I booked this role. It's this time period, or it's this kind of, I'm playing an Army sergeant. I was never in the Army, so I got to go to an Army friend and say, hey, what is it like being in the Army? You know, because it's a big difference between being in the Marine Corps, being in the Army, being in the Navy. So you want to, you know, even as a military guy, and I have this training, I still go to people and train for this. So Manhunt was in the 90s. It took place in the 90s.
Right.
I didn't go in there saying, well, I'm military. I already know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
No, I went to a buddy of mine. I said, hey, in the 90s, how did they hold their weapons?
Wow. Does that change? Does something as minor as that change?
Absolutely it does. Because, you know, back in the days, they had, you know, where you're like this, right? You're coming around the corner like this.
Make sure you're getting that.
But now, you know, nowadays training is so different that guys are starting to hold their weapons here. So instead of coming up here like this, you're now coming up here like
Waist
this.
level, wow.
You know, so in the 90s, they held the SWAT team members, who were even probably ex-military, they held their weapons differently than what we hold our weapons today. And it's the littlest things like that that I want to know before going in and working on a character, even if it's military.
By the way, boys, you've been great. We got like 30 seconds.
Oh, my gosh.
Hit me, you and Jeff. I want to know, where can we find your material, boys? Tell us where to follow you.
Oh, you can follow me on Instagram or Twitter. Just
give us
my
the
name,
as
hashtag or Twitter.com, Instagram.com, / whatever it is, Leon Farmer, LeonFarmer.
Leon, you're amazing. Jeff, you're amazing. Tell us where we can follow you, your books, and your work.
You can find all my books at Amazon.com, all 12 of them. You can also find me on my profiles on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and just punch my name into a search engine. I'll come up at other places too.
You
didn't say your name.
Oh, Jeff Fuel. Fuell. 2 L's.
2 L's.
And 2 F's and Jeff. 2 F's and Jeff.
Two
right?
F's and Jeff.
Hey, Jeff and Leon, you're amazing. Big Daddy, take us out.
All right, tomorrow, Hot Chick Friday, we have actress Sherry Davis, Scream Queen, coming in.
Hubba.
And phone calls from Tammy Locke from the 60s show called The Monroes.
And she was the Detroit roller derby queen for the Detroit Devils.
Yes, and Sunshine from Tim and Eric's Awesome Show.
I know, Sunshine. I've done 9 episodes. Anyway, Leon, Jeff, on behalf of the Jeff Sargent Show, we thank you both so much for your amazing stories. Good luck in your future writing. Good luck in your acting. And thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
All right.
Guys, you're amazing. Thank you so much. We need a shot with you guys.
Yeah,
hey, by the
we'll
way,
do a group shot.
I loved your stories, both of your stories. And what I loved is that your stories didn't overlap. You know what I mean?
It was a good collide.
It was a great collide.
You're amazing to work with.
I should probably come out of my shell a bit more, especially for a radio show.
But you know what? You're not used to talking about yourself. Neither is Leon.